Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another episode of Hollywood Backlot with Lou and you. My name is VashSky. I'm your host today. Hopefully doing justice by the one, the only, the great Lou Washman's Ghost, who is right to my right. Hello there, sir.
How are justice? You want justice? You can't handle justice.
Can't handle justice. No. Well,
what was her name? Justice. Anyway, you could handle her for a price, Ugarte, for a price. Anyway. Good morning, good evening, wherever you may be, and always happy to be here, or anywhere for that matter.
Absolutely.
Especially in the Vash cocktail lounge of blue and orange and other neat stuff.
Yes. I you know what? We're serving drinks somewhere, actually. Maybe just water for now.
Oh, but, okay. There you go. I'm drinking wine all over here. So we got both sides of the miracle covered here.
I suppose
water to wine, or vice versa.
And don't forget,
very good bottle last night, and had a little left over. So who else would I drink it with but you?
So not very much. That would be absolutely fantastic. I know you are a wine connoisseur, very good sir. So that is.
Awesome. I know what's good and what's bad. Let's put it that way. Yeah. And what's ugly.
But by the way, I think I got some B-rolls of Mondavi, or the winery out there for
Mondavi. If you say Mondavi, we got a whole different story to tell.
But, yes. But you like telling your stories, so I got some roll on it. So.
You mean the one about a DCA with Bob Jr.? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I knew all of them very well, and the real opening day, not the customer opening day, but the press opening day. Mm-hmm. Robert Mondavi Jr. was up there standing amongst the vines at DCA, and this nice little Disney girl who had no idea went running up to tell him to get out of the foliage. And I said, "Excuse me, my dear, do you know who that is?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Well, he's literally outstanding in his field." So
yeah, that's literally his. I always thought that was very funny. Let me see if I have that video to show you. Oh, I think I might. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Ah, yes, the golden vine.
The golden vine.
In golden vines, when things were, I used to go in there and, what's his name? British actor. Why can't I think of his name? Who narrated that great little movie about making wine?
I can't.
Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons did it.
And it was converted into the Blue Sky Cellar at a certain point right there, which gave you a preview into the upcoming attractions that were coming to Disney California Adventure, including like Little Mermaid, but definitely Cars Land. And
which, if you believe them all, you had been drinking too much wine. But
yeah. Well, there are some things
more so nowadays. It's like, drink the wine. Don't worry about what's not coming or how many years it's going to take.
Exactly. I mean, back in the day, it was a little bit more exciting than it is today. But alas, the Blue Sky Cellar is no more.
But they always had some mighty fine wine.
They do, and they did.
I mean, long before DCA, I personally drank the steakhouse at the hotel out of their supply of a couple of good years of Mondavi Cabernet. So
really,
yes. Go there for dinner and say, "Let me have another one of those." They said, "Only 3 left." I said, "I'll catch you next time." And yeah, some really good
fantastic. Wine. Well, remember to.
But meanwhile, back at Hollywood,
exactly. And remember to tip your waitresses. Well, they tipped us first. Juliet with the one British pound sterling.
Drink enough wine, they'll find it easier to tip you over.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Juliet, for the one British pound and for modding. I know you're modding on a lot of the channels now.
One of our great mods. But then we have some other great mods here today. My goodness. Magnifique. And,
absolutely.
And of course, the ever popular Follow the Bradleys Fun, Ron, who we're going to go through after we're done.
Yep. He's got his dish right after our program, so that'll be great. Just go ahead and don't even change that dial, folks. It'll just be redirected smoothly right into his upcoming program. That's be a lot of fun. And Walter Tomaszewski, if I'm not mistaken, with the $4.99. You should just do your show, and at the end of it, play deep house techno music. We can watch Vash and Lou boogie down with their bad C-3PO selves.
I doubt it.
Yeah. I don't think so.
I doubt it.
I don't think so.
I haven't had that much wine, Walter. So,
We
and $4.99
said
will
more
buy
like-
this stuff. Believe me, I appreciate your contribution, but
Maybe it buys a glass. I don't know.
I don't
Probably
serve by
not.
the glass.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Walter. Very much appreciate that. Speaking of, the restaurant business, I want to go ahead and bring this up because this was very sad, and it's all about Hollywood, and especially old Hollywood for sure. This is by Deadline right here. Dan Tana dies, former owner of celebrity-frequented West Hollywood Eatery, 90 years old right here. This is by Natalie. Yeah, this is by Natalie right there at August 16th. And apparently, well, I mean, of course, a lot of celebrities knew of Dan, and you were telling me before the show about some incidents that occurred even with that restaurant. Apparently, it burnt down, but
Yeah, it burnt down, and they said it was going to take forever, and the insurance was iffy, and a bunch of Hollywood folks got together and said, let's build it back. And they put it back almost exactly the way it was before, which was surprising to everybody because it was this old time, as you can see, red leather banquette, dim lighting, Chianti bottles hanging from the ceiling. When I was a kid, not that I was exactly an alcoholic as a kid, but I used to think those old Italian restaurants with all the bottles, I said, that's a great business to be in because look at all the great wine you got to drink in order to open the doors. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's for sure. But somebody who
little
knew
did
him-
I know that the vintners supplied them with empties for things like that just to get the promotional value. I remember one time being told a story about one of the great wineries in California, and they sent a Jeroboam, this big, huge bottle of wine to New York for a tasting, and they goofed. They sent one that was strictly a display model, which was full of cranberry juice.
Oh, really?
Oops.
Yikes! Oh man, that's no
So,
good.
until you've tasted it, don't trust what it says on the label. That's all I can say.
I guess
But
not.
yeah, Dan Tana's right down the way from the famous Troubadour on Santa Monica Boulevard in West LA, just off the border with Beverly Hills. And it was a hangout, that's for sure. And lots of famous folks used to hang out there. It was kind of the younger generation countercultural version of Chasen's in that regard, which was also not far away. And then, of course, those of you who have an ear for names will remember that they they appropriated his name for the main character on the TV show Vegas with Robert Urich. That's where they got Dan Tana. So, and he was actually Yugoslavian, or I think he was from Dubrovnik. I don't remember. But anyway, good place for some Italian food and some steak and some Caesar salad and good conversation. So.
And James Woods, was a dear friend of Dan, and I guess frequented the restaurant.
There you go,
frequently.
Belgrade, Yugoslavia, right?
Yeah, and had a great write up about his time there at the
Yeah, if
restaurant.
you're not subscribed yet to James Wood's newsletter, you should be. And the latest edition is all about Dan Tana's, and you can go there and read it all.
Yes, let me go ahead and provide the link for that because I thought it was actually a pretty good write-up, and it definitely gives you an insight into this.
And he's been talking about all the other issues, the ridiculous slow walking of the rebuild in the Palisades, because he has a house up there, and other political issues that we know he's on the right side of. But
that's for sure.
And also about music, he's doing records now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that is very exciting, very encouraging. Well, wish James Wood the best, of course, and Dan Tana and to the family. That's sad to hear. Sad to hear a Hollywood icon from what I gather.
Yeah, if Dan didn't know it, it wasn't worth knowing when it came to inside stuff on the biz, because people liked him, they trusted him, and they trusted that if they told him something, it wasn't going to wind up in the media the next day. So
that's
there
cool.
you go.
That's cool. That's fantastic.
He's a good friend to many.
Now, we got to get on to this week's jukebox, and I am super excited to bring this up because
good.
I think this is super cool.
Attention, all gun haters do not click.
exactly.
This is a guy, an Italian guitar virtuoso, playing Ennio Morricone's theme from A Few Dollars More with his guitar and his pistolero, or his pistol, freestyle guitar cover, and it's pretty damn brilliant. The guy's good anyway. You can explore his website to see more. But anyway, Luca Stricagnoli. Yeah, that's it. I'd say that. And it is for a few dollars more. And for free, you can listen to it. You don't need a few dollars more. So send them our way.
Yeah, exactly. Let me just go ahead and put this in the chat right here. I think this is really, really cool. I was listening to it actually before the show, and I was like, "Oh man, this is slick right here." So if I could only play this music, I absolutely would. But I think it was a really great jukebox selection. And let me see here if I can. There we go, right there. Go ahead and put that in the chat so all of you can listen. It's really, really good stuff. I think for those, spaghetti Western fans, I think you'll
Well, see,
and
the thing is, it's good music, period.
Yes.
The fact that it happens to be from a classic Western and it happens to be an Italian's take on Spanish music as played in the American Southwest is all a bonus. But it's got to be good. I always said, when everybody was all nostalgic about Art Deco and what have you, I said, yeah, but the good stuff is good because it's good, not because it's old. It's good because it's good.
Right. And that's why we like good new stuff. We just haven't gotten a lot of that recently.
Well, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It would be nice.
I just wrote, by the way, a new piece that's on the website.
Yes, you did.
About these idiots at Disney who, what's that line from The Princess Bride about that word does not mean what you think it means?
Right.
And they're claiming that the whole removal of all the Americana from the rivers of America and everything else is because we want to encourage our guests that they can write their own story and create their own folklore. Well, guess what? You can't create your own folklore any more than you can create your own truth because folklore is something the folks did, in decades and centuries past to pass along what they thought were valuable lessons to the next generation. So, they just don't get it. And of course, the same goes for people like Cracker Barrel and Target and Bud Light and all the rest of those people. But there's the article, and you can peruse it at your leisure. I think. Sure. Do you have to be a VIP for that one? Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah, I think you do have to be a VIP.
Making me a VIP thing, but I'm worth it. Go ahead. Sign up. What's it cost? A couple bucks?
Lou is worth it. Lou is worth it. Sign up for a couple bucks.
But just know that it wasn't my doing to make it VIP. They've decided I'm a draw, I guess. And just like that swamp that used to be a river is drawing flies. But anyway,
yeah, it's really sad. It's really not great, but definitely check out Lou's piece when you get the chance to. Speaking of, good things that might be new. Well, got some box office news here that I thought was
really?
very interesting.
People are still buying tickets.
People are still buying tickets, and sometimes it's to a comedy like Naked Gun here, and sometimes it's to something that was on Netflix previously that was brought over to the cinema. This is by Luis Fernando. Paramount's new PG-13 legacy sequel comedy, The Naked Gun, once again with strong holds thanks to positive word of mouth at the U.S. box office, despite new competition with Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson grossing $3 million on fourth 3-day weekend, just a 39% drop from the last weekend, despite losing another 251 theaters on Friday. It hits a 47.6 million cube in the U.S. Next weekend, it's going to beat No Hard Feelings at 50 million and One of Them Days at 50 million runs domestically.
I've never heard of either of those movies. Have you? Oh, you have.
Never heard of those either.
We beat No Names. We beat movies people haven't even heard of, let alone gone to see. But what the hell? Every little bit helps, right? Anyway.
Every little bit helps, and apparently it's eyeing a $55 to $60 million run at least at the domestic or U.S. box office.
Ooh. The eyes of movies are upon you. You cannot look away.
Well, what I wanted to bring up, Lou, was that I think the movie, if I'm not mistaken here, let me go ahead and look up the budget. I thought it was like $50 million or so. And it's what, at about $86 million worldwide right now. One could expect maybe this thing at the end of its run, maybe just a hair shy of $100 million. And given its production budget of, let's see here if I can find that, at least the reported budget of $42 million. I mean, how do you look at this,
show a
Lou?
profit. Well,
Yeah.
first thing is, look, 99% of the attention to this comes from people who fondly remember the originals, right? I mean, Liam Neeson's a fine actor, but nobody says, oh, I got to see the latest Liam Neeson movie. They just don't. They want to see what it is. Secondly, Pam Anderson is out with no makeup on talk shows talking about how she's gone away from that whole sex bomb thing. And she's in this movie to be what? A sex bomb. So she might have waited for that I'm coming out with no makeup in my older age tour. But I did read something about that and discovered she was the most photographed person ever to grace the pages of Playboy, with something like 14 different appearances.
Wow.
So that's a record, I guess. Anyway, all I'm saying is the entire thing is based on you love the original, come see this. I have not seen it. I did love the originals. I don't know if it's as good as the originals, but I do know it's missing one thing. By God, what's that line from The Wizard of Oz? But there's one thing out there that the originals have that you haven't got. OJ.
And they make fun of that, which is pretty funny. But no, I've heard great word of mouth from this particular movie right here. I've heard a lot of people. There are some comedy connoisseurs who are like, maybe it wasn't for me, but it seems to be working with a larger audience. And I know I was.
God knows we could all use a good laugh nowadays. There's
exactly.
Makes you cry in the world.
If things worked out a little bit differently this weekend, at least for me, I may have actually seen this in the theater. So I know I'm excited to see it, whether it comes on streaming or if I can actually get a chance to see it.
Something else about this movie, unlike recent quote-unquote big releases, there is no great reason or urge to see this on the super-duper size screen. I mean, it's not a superhero epic. It's not an effects epic. It's just a movie, which is fine.
Right.
But therefore, it will suffer at the box office from not having that added punch of those overpriced IMAX tickets. So there is that.
It's true. I think there was a statistic out there. Let me see if I can find it. Speaking of the box office and everything else, I think this was the first year, actually, that since I think it was 2011, if I'm not mistaken, that a superhero movie didn't actually make $700 million at the box office, because apparently Superman and Fantastic Four, they are leaking out right here, and they might actually come short of those numbers. Lou, I just want to ask you real quickly, I mean, are we out in terms of superhero movies, or is it more about the quality?
The people who feel an urge to see it day and date, which means opening day, opening week, opening weekend, are a smaller crowd. It's just that simple. And the people who then amongst that crowd want to see it a second time or a third time, the way that such movies in the past have been watched, are even smaller. So it's a question of a battle between, do I want to rush out and see it? And if I want to see it, I want to see it on the super duper large screen, and it gets bumped by the next one off of those screens within a week or two. There's a built-in limit to these things. And at that point, to the people who were going to go but didn't get around to it, or something came up, say, I'll just wait till it's at home. I can put it on my own big screen with my own bargain price popcorn. Although I've noticed some weird things. I was looking at Amazon the other day looking for something to watch.
Sure.
And I found that the new Mission Impossible, you can buy only, not rent, for $19.95.
Mm-hmm.
But Superman, you could buy for $29.95 or rent for $24.95, which doesn't seem like a great big difference to me if you want it at all. At that point, do you say, well, I think I'll wait?
Huh.
because you know what? It was very weird pricing going on. And again, I think they're all just shooting in the dark, saying, "Will this work? Will this work? Let's try something."
Yeah.
So
Well,
there you go. And of
they,
course, a lot of these things, especially the stuff that is produced by or affiliated with HBO or Apple, they come on and they say, well, you can either rent it for X or you can take a free trial of membership in our service and watch it. And then we hope you stick around for everything else. So I don't think anybody's figured out the secret of how to market these things yet. And certainly this whole business of them running into each other at the big screen theaters. We've mentioned in the past that, for example, F1 is coming back to big screens here in a week or two.
yeah.
In case you missed it the first time and you didn't bother, well, here's another reason. Will that work? No idea. No idea.
No idea. But it's a lot of shot in the dark, Lou. And it's like, man, this.
I'm just saying everybody's trying to throw it up against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And nobody knows how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
And will lessons be learned, or will they be squandered, or will they be ignored? The whole problem is that the way we keep score, although ostensibly it's box office, has changed because with so many of these things, and especially, for example, Disney with Disney Plus, the net positive is all about, did we get subscribers who stuck around? And now they've announced they're not going to tell us anymore, right?
Yeah, with the subscriber count for Disney Plus, no.
Yeah, they're not going to tell us because it's a secret. We don't want to tell you. But what they mean is we don't want to tell you how bad it is. If it was good, believe me, they'd tell us.
Right.
They would be trumpeting it to the skies. So
I mean,
there you are.
That's what I would assume, but I think they're not.
And you know what? Here's how picky I am. If I still lived in L.A., and I wanted to see it on a big screen with the whole 9 yards, that theater, the El Capitan, is worth the movie-going experience, even though you got to put up with Hollywood to get to it.
Right.
But some others, not so much. The big screen at your local mall in Valencia, not so much. At that point, you say to yourself, well, is it worth it going down there where crime is worse, where parking is expensive, where eating is difficult if you want to eat something decent?
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so many factors mitigating against it other than the one of, is it a good movie? Do I want to see it? Which used to be the only criterion for going to the movies. Not anymore. Not anymore.
It is frustrating. Well, I will say, a lot of people have been going to a particular movie at the theaters, but it's one that's been on streaming for 2 months. Oh, I know. Everybody's going to just go crazy in the chat for this film. I'm sure you are, Lou. K-pop Demon Hunters. Apparently, at the theaters, in which they have a single version of this movie right here, it's anywhere between a $20 to $18 million debut. Now, that's all based on estimates because Netflix is not reporting box office. The reason being is that they don't believe in theatrical distribution. So we really don't know what the final box office for this will actually be, unfortunately. But apparently a lot of people were going and a lot of people were having a fun time actually doing it. Let me see right here. This by Peter de Bruges. Netflix broke its rule to share K-pop Demon Hunters on the big screen, but don't expect the streamer to make a habit of it. And I think this article actually details how I've been on the Hunter X train since the beginning and bought tickets to the first screening of the day at Los Angeles Alamo Drafthouse Theater, where the house
LA has an Alamo Drafthouse now? I didn't know that.
I suppose so. Packed with family audiences. They weren't just in for the songs either, but gleefully recited most of the dialogue too. These kids knew the movie by heart, having watched it countless times at home, and now their parents were spending close to $100 to experience it on the big screen. I think this is remarkable. Let's leave the film to the side just for a second here, but I think it's remarkable that this thing is popping off the way it is in a marketplace in which we've heard that, well, this market's dying and maybe families aren't actually going to theaters because, well, Disney Plus conditioned everybody that you should see it on there. And this thing seems to be breaking all the rules, including Netflix's own rules. Lou, your thoughts on this? Because it's just, to me, it's just very, very interesting.
It is, but again, it's all sorting itself out. Nobody really knows. You know what I mean? Uh, they haven't figured this out yet. I'm looking it up. Alamo Drafthouse in LA is downtown LA. My God, I wouldn't go down there if my life depended on it, and it might.
Well, isn't that the? I thought. I don't know if it's downtown LA, but I thought. Where is that that Tesla diner at?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I could look that up next. But this is like Flower and between Flower and Sixth, and it's. I wouldn't go there at night.
Yeah,
I just wouldn't. I'm not stick in the mud, I guess. But
yeah, Santa Monica Boulevard in Los Angeles was that Tesla diner right there.
I mean, look. A pro asked me. He said, "Hey, someday we're going to have to all go to LA and go to all your favorite restaurants." And I said, "No." I said, A, I don't know if they're any good anymore after 7 years, and B, I don't want to go. I thought I'd go back every so often, but I found no motivation whatsoever. My brother went back for a high school reunion and was shocked. I think it's safe to say. So remember my famous words. As we drove across the border into Arizona on our way to where we live now in the Southeast, I said to my wife, I said, honey, I said, California gave me the best years of its life, and I gave California the best years of my life, but I still have some best years left. California, not so much. Goodbye. And then here's the question. Once Jimmy Kimmel is gone, which will happen eventually, he's in that theater there, which used to be an old, was it an Elks or one of those kinds of, Legion halls. Mm-hmm. Right there next to the El Capitan. Mm-hmm. And what are they doing there? It's like I was joking on one of these channels, I forget why, about the haunted Ed Sullivan Theater in New York now that Mr. Colbert will disappear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the ghost of Tonight Show's past.
I mean, I wonder how long Disney's lease or NBC's lease is and whether they can get out of it. But
yeah.
The Jimmy Kimmel Live, yeah. If you call that live, if you call that living, right?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But when Disney first took that over, it wasn't for Kimmel. It was like an add-on exhibition space for the El Cap. They did stuff like props and sets from Disney movies in there before and after the film.
Gotcha.
So, I'm trying to think of what film it was, the first one that they did that for. But anyway. It wasn't, and then they built a tent out back, and it was big and wonderful, and it isn't anymore. But
wow, that's interesting. I was looking at it because 18 to 20 million. It's like, okay, well, it's kind of low. Relatively speaking, it's like, okay, yeah. I mean, if you're looking at a superhero film and you're looking to do $100 million at the box office first weekend, sure, it might be. But you got to remember, this thing has been out on streaming for 2 months. This K-pop Demon Hunters, and for it to get 18 to 20 million at the box office this late here for a sing-along version, it's actually quite extraordinary. I was looking at, what I could compare it to. And I remember when Frozen was released as a sing-along version in theaters back in the day. I mean, this was at 10 weeks after it had already been playing in theaters up until that point, and it only grossed, from what I understand, $2.2 million. That was back in the day. This is available on streaming, which is basically, free and not didn't have the paywall of, let's say, a theatrical distribution model, and yet it made $18 to $20 million. I think Pro is right. I think the comparisons between it and Frozen are actually quite apt, and at least for a demographic of kids and Gen Z and everything else, they're really reacting to this. So it's very, very interesting.
Well, and when you talk about Gen Z and kids and what have you, the elephant in the room, if you will, is the Wiz, is Oz, is Wicked. Yeah. And there's all these rumors about, they're going to add a Wicked Land to the Universal Parks. And I just don't think they're going to do anything in that regard unless it's just a character meet and greet until the second movie comes out and proves itself. Because I think the fact that first movie was a huge hit, largely due to repeat business from people who had seen the show, which is, let's face it, been out there in theaters for 20, 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of those people were kind of turned off by the weirdness between the two principal actresses. And will the second movie do as well?
Yeah.
If it does, then maybe it justifies it. But otherwise, a whole land, I have my doubts. I think they're cleverer than that to anticipate or wait and see for it to make its bones, so to speak. Grauman's. I've told the story, of course, before that when we first moved to Beverly Hills when I was in 6th grade, our phone number was one number off from Grauman's. And we used to get phone calls from people. And my father was hilarious. They called up one time and said, "Is Mary Poppins playing there?" And he said, "No, but if I see her, I'll tell her to come right home." And there was a famous mortuary firm in downtown LA called Grauman's. And he would answer, "Not Grauman's, Grauman's. How may we help you in your hour of need?" And people would just freak out. Or he would go, "Grauman Shiny Laundry, no tiki, no shirty," So those were the days when you could make jokes.
You could do stuff like that.
But yeah.
Oh man. Well, it's fascinating. We talk about franchises, we talk about appeal, you talk about Wicked, and so forth, and well, the Amazing Grauman Chinese Theater playing maybe a more male-driven franchise, although many women are very interested in Mission Impossible as well. Apparently Disney, though, they're a bit concerned, specifically with men and boys.
Well, but I thought it was interesting that their announcement said they were looking for new IP that would appeal to same. And I thought,
right.
Well, here's the problem, and I elucidated in that article we referenced earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's all in the eye of the beholder. And if it's the same people who thought that what they did already was a good thing, even though it wasn't, and kept pursuing it, even though it failed, what makes you think those same people making the judgment are going to be any better at it? I don't have any faith in their judgment. Do you?
No faith whatsoever. And I mean,
and they just these little things that they could do. For example, back to theme parks.
Please.
Now they're discovering that the underpinnings of the Tiana remake, where it meets the river, now that they've drained the river, there's portions down there that have collapsed. And I'm going, they spent 6 years, wasn't it, remaking Tiana's? And they didn't put a guy in a wetsuit go down and take a look at the underpinnings of that while they were at it? Especially when they found supposedly all these flaws in the building having to do with mold and decay and one thing or another. Wouldn't you say, I wonder if the foundation's any good where the water's been up against it all these years. Maybe we should go take a look-see. But no. What it reminds me of is when they revamped, for PC's sake, the Jungle Cruise, but didn't fix the pieces that were falling apart.
Right, the temple there.
Yeah.
Which is just endlessly frustrating. At least when the Tiana conversion was relatively quick, but like you said, Lou, they never looked at the bones of the piece, as it were. And
how do they have him walking around with no wings, by the way?
I think they do because the wings might be a hazard.
I understand why. I'm just saying, isn't that like the whole thing?
His thing,
Captain America different? So
yeah, that's true.
Or are we saying it's because he's black? Heaven forbid we should mention that little factor, right?
That is something.
Force is female. Yeah. Which means it's only never mind. I was going to say something that would get us fired. They're only coming out with a halfway decent episode or movie once a month. But anyway,
well, there you go. I find this endlessly fascinating because it's like, look, you guys knew this back in 2008, 2009 that at least Disney, that is, had a young boy problem. You knew it very well because you had locked up the girls.
Oh, that problem. You're not talking about the bibbity bobbity influencers, are you?
No, not.
Or the employees being caught doing things.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about appealing, having a product that appeals to young boys. They just didn't have it. They had locked up the female demographic, at least the young female demographic, with princesses for years up until that point. Still a juggernaut, but maybe perhaps less so nowadays.
Well, wait a minute. Didn't young boys want to be Jack Sparrow? Oops, sorry, they canned him.
There you go, right? That's
didn't
another
young
franchise.
boys want to be, I don't know. Look, the point is, as I've said before, the most important part of your car is the nut that holds the wheel.
Right.
And if you don't change those decision makers, whatever decisions they claim they're going to make to fix things are made by the same minds that put them in that problem in the first place. And they're just not capable of seeing a bigger picture or a different picture. They don't think they were wrong. When they go to them and they hold a meeting and they say, it's time to fix our problem, they smile and say, what problem? Oh, you mean the audience being stupid? Oh, you mean the audience that pays our bills being something we hold in contempt and being backwards and fascist and sexist? And no, that's not the problem. Well, what is the problem? Well, the problem is what you just said, that you think of them that way. Well, but that's how they are, isn't it? That's what you've told us from the very top. This is a conundrum and a puzzlement and a mess that they will not get out of easily, quickly, or without further failure. It just is.
No, and I want to go ahead and share this quote right here after destroying the franchises that they purchased in the form of Marvel and Star Wars for this exact purpose. Here you go. This is what I like. I never thought I'd say it. The executive muses about the Magic Kingdom's boy troubles despite its gem box office of iconic IP. There you go. That has all the makings of a great Lou sentence right there. But it looks like Disney is going to have to start trying. So
it doesn't matter if you try, if the people trying are the ones who got you there in the first place. I mean, it's just that simple. They have a mindset. Well, look at everybody's all upset about Cracker Barrel, right? Oh, they changed the logo and they're painting the stores white. But for the past 10 years, it turns out, they've been donating to every far left, every DEI cause in the world. And meanwhile, the food's gotten bad. The service has gotten bad. The basic components of what they have to do have gotten very, very bad. And it just goes to show you, that old line about you can't walk and chew gum at the same time? Well, for a big corporation, no, you can't. You got to focus on what you do well first, or what you used to do well, and fix it before you start venturing into the strange new world of, oh, that's funny. That's an interesting comparison I hadn't made before. Yeah, well, and there you go. Oops. And then, of course, the first thing that comes out of the mouth of the CEO and the people involved is, well, it's the damn audience, those fools. They don't get it.
Right. This is a vocal minority, everybody. Don't freak out. But look, if you look at the two largest institutional investors into Cracker Barrel, is that BlackRock? Is that Vanguard? Aren't those the two largest institutional investors at Disney? Yeah, it's a story that's been
Don't
playing out
mind
over and
us.
over again.
We're sprucing up the story. Yeah, well, I mind the hell out of you. There used to be a time really bright and inviting. Oh, really? Looks like it's bright. It's inviting, just like every gas station on the road, which is where we'll stop next time if we're going to get the same thing. And those rainbow rockers, man, they make me feel so included.
Yeah,
think about the core of what that's saying. It's saying that if you believe in equal rights for gay people, then you wouldn't dare sit in a non-rainbow rocker. How sexist, racist, whatever you want to call it, is that?
Oh, that's
By the way, that's a real man, Uncle Herschel. When you see on the menu Uncle Herschel's special,
you're right.
That's Uncle Herschel.
Yeah.
And he's gone. And she's smiling. And what the hell are you smiling about? By the way, she used to run Taco Bell into the ground. Ooh. And she used to run, I forget what the other company is before she came here. And why is painting everything white and changing that decor somehow more inviting? Well,
it's inoffensive minimalism, Lou. That's what they're going
Oh,
for.
okay. So you were being offended by checkerboards. And,
Yeah, I know. It's
oh, I know what it was. It was the damn gun over the fireplace. That was the real offense.
yeah, exactly.
Look at how upbeat and thrilled she is. Her stock lost 200 million, 300 million. And that's interesting too, because I read a wonderful commentary. I forget which of the magazines. They said people are comparing this to Target and Miller Lite. No, the comparison is Jaguar.
Yeah.
The comparison that's apt is Jaguar, because leave only one and you're a genius. Well, if I was a genius, I'd be your CEO, wouldn't I? There she is, the genius. But again, it's not just her, the whole company. And let's please remember, folks, where this company is headquartered. It's not Chicago, it's not New York, it's not Boston, it's not LA. It's Nashville or environs.
Ridiculous. Oh, it's ridiculous.
That's why when I told people I was moving to Tennessee, they looked at me and said, "Oh, Nashville?" And I said, "No, it's already too much like LA. Good place to visit, but I'll be visiting there in a couple of weeks. But just 2 hours up the road, but a world away."
A world away, indeed. And I believe Disney's a world away from getting young boys back into their franchises. I will say there was a particularly interesting article or story that just came out that, well, we have an article on over there at That Park Place. Katie Sackhoff reveals The Mandalorian broke her. Real problem with Disney Star Wars.
I read that story in her interview, and I didn't get it. I mean, I just didn't get it. I didn't understand what her problem was.
I think, it was a little bit strange. So she's saying that she couldn't really get into the headspace of the Bo-Katan character that she played on The Mandalorian, even though she had played that character at least vocally with previous Star Wars content like Clone Wars, for example. And so it was kind of interesting. To me, it's like, were they trying to push that character in a certain direction to appeal to like young girls, which really, I think that's the connection that Marvin's making right there.
She's a fine actress. She really is.
Yeah.
And she's done some great work.
Yeah.
And not lately. And so maybe is the subtext of all this, honest, I didn't buy into that bullshit, please hire me.
I mean, maybe it's possible.
That's the way it felt to me from a purely cold, hard movie business view. And when they said she hasn't worked for 3 years, well, I was so disturbed by playing that character that I couldn't work. Really? So in other words, when you got all these calls asking you to come work in things, you said, "No, sorry, that other show broke me." I doubt it. It means you didn't get the calls. And that's
perhaps
too. So,
right. Which is his own problem. I guess the reason why I bring this up, especially in relation to the Gen Z boy problem that Disney finds itself in, is because I think they were attempting to manipulate these franchises in such a way that, in this case, broke characters. I don't know about breaking the actress, but Katie Sackhoff, that's what she says. But they did irreparable damage to these franchises in such a way that they didn't appeal to anybody, and I think it's just profound.
Yeah. Look, as I keep saying, this is not a fix that's easy, and it's not a fix that's quick, and it's not a fix that's going to happen with the same people involved. And if somebody, I keep saying this so many times, I feel like I'm boring people, but I'll say it again because I'm brave. When people say, "Oh, well, what if Apple bought it?" Or what if, Elon Musk bought Disney? Or what if, the first thing they'd have to do is lay off a whole bunch of people. And the next thing all that whole bunch of people would do is say, "Why did you lay me off?" And they would say, "Well, because you drove the company into the ground with all this stuff." To which they would rightly reply, "I was just following orders. You can't fire me for that."
Right.
And they'd be right. And this is a problem that you can't take decades to make it and have it go away in a day. And the first thing about what's the old thing about if you're digging yourself in a hole is stop digging? Well, they haven't. They paid lip service to it, as my article explores, but they haven't really done it. And as long as these two people are there to say, no, it's really okay. I mean, look, all this stuff about the Gina settlement, and we look forward to working with her again. Can you imagine in the weirdest universe in the world that she would work with KK again?
I don't.
Because to work for Lucas is to work for KK.
That's true.
Until KK is gone. So it's like, you can't pay me enough. Right. Unless you pay me Robert Downey Jr. money, in which case you say, well, what the hell, I guess. So,
yeah, I'll work with anybody for what, $120 million or whatever he's getting paid, right?
Well, yeah, because nobody else was offering me less money even to do something of a caliber that fits my talents, as proven by Oppenheimer. What a waste. What a waste of great talent. What a waste of so many of these people that can only get jobs in frivolity for a lot of money. I use the term frivolity very generously, and can't get work in serious stuff because, well. And what about this little girl?
Yeah.
What about this little girl?
Daisy Ridley.
I mean, boy, they couldn't even make a dupe of you in a hotel work, honey. It's not going to work. Go find something else to do. Yeah. And I have to assume they're paying her some kind of a hold fee, but still, God.
I mean, it's just.
I mean,
just
the
wreck
point
everybody.
is that these places have become a sucking swamp that takes young, possibly potentially great talent and destroys it.
Yeah.
Destroys it.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about actually somebody else who was connected to Star Wars, a big Oscar Isaac. But yeah, I mean, you're totally right, Lou. It's just they take this talent and they just really squander their abilities. I remember Kelly Marie Tran. Kelly Marie Tran apparently is a decent actress, but unfortunately they forced her into this role that made her reviled, and it was really unfortunate because we never really got to see that star shine right there. We only remember the bad parts of that performance as Rose Tico in The Last Jedi, and it's just really, really sad. It's sad to see all this talent go to waste the way it has. I want to go ahead and I guess that's a good transition point to our last big story right here. There's been a big production, actually, of a movie you might not have heard of. And I was actually surprised because I hadn't heard much of it myself. But Guillermo Del Toro unpacks Frankenstein, the 30-year journey to make it, getting a Netflix theatrical release, and why he axed the plan for 2 movies. I thought this was really, really profound right here because apparently Guillermo Del Toro has wanted to make this movie for a while. He's definitely putting his own spin on it, as I have images to show. But this thing is a lot of money. Apparently, it's $120 million. And I want to go ahead and highlight this quote right here. Guillermo del Toro says Frankenstein took around 120 days and cost around $120 million to make. Whatever budget I get, I always say it should look like it costs double. The Shape of Water was made for $19.3 million, and I wanted to make it look like it was a $50 million movie. Pacific Rim, which cost about $190 million, I wanted it to look like a $400 million production. I think it is my fiduciary duty as a producer and my artistic duty as a director to make my ambitions always exceed the budget.
And I think he succeeded with both of those films. I do think so.
Right.
Whether you love them or hate them, Shape of Water and Pacific Rim looked like much bigger movies than what they cost, if those are the right numbers.
Yeah.
So, what a concept.
What a concept indeed. How many times, Lou, have we heard from Disney where they hand these movies off to our tour directors or maybe directors who aren't skilled or experienced?
Well, see, wait. The problem with auteurs is they fight back. They'd rather have inexperienced people they can manipulate.
Well, that's a fair point. Okay, maybe I used the wrong terminology right there, but inexperienced directors for sure, right? The Marvels, for example, I think the biggest movie that had been produced by the gal who actually directed the Marvels was what? I think it was a $20 million production. And now you're being given what I think essentially became like a $300 million production. And it's like to put that in the hands of somebody so inexperienced.
It's two reasons.
You have these. Go ahead, please.
Reason one, because they can manipulate them. Reason two, because they can blame them.
Yeah, that's a sad thing, right? It's like don't blame the producer who actually chose the director. Blame the director for going over. Yikes.
Well, because if you're new and they start putting pressure on you to do things that technically the DGA contract says they can't pressure you to do, what are you going to do? Oh, well, I'll take this to the guild. Oh, yeah? Want to work again?
There you go.
Boy. And not just with us, with anybody. See, you got to remember, these things ripple out. I still say that we have yet to see the end of Gina's situation because of that agency of hers that dumped her the same day. Had to be because of pressure from Disney. So we'll see.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you sue them or do you, work it out?
Well, I guess it's all a question of how quickly they offer her a good deal, right? You sure as hell they aren't your agent anymore. That's for sure. They're not going to make any money off whatever you make. But, or will they? Because, hey, we got you the previous job and therefore we're part of the formula. Well, it ain't over till it's over, gang. And nobody really knows where the bodies are buried except the accountants. So, and even they aren't telling. So, anyway.
Well, this production of Frankenstein by Guillermo Del Toro actually looks absolutely incredible. It looks really, really cool. It couldn't have found a better guy, in my opinion, to put this on the big screen.
Look, apparently the major problem to solve as a director, as a writer of telling that story is that when the story was written, it was an outcry to say, don't mess with God. There are things that man is not intended to do, like create life. And if you do, God's going to get you. Well, how do you tell that story in a world where most people don't believe or don't care?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know. And by the way, I recommend to everybody that they watch it. Have you seen Nolan Thunder's final, after months and years of work creation, about the embedded stuff in the Nintendo game that customized it? Part of it was that it made references to, what is it called? Chultu or all these other demons. Mm-hmm. And I always find it amazing that these people who have no interest in faith or no knowledge of scripture, and I'm not by any means an expert on either one, but they always cite classic Christianity stuff and demons and devils and stuff as their way of somehow making a point when they don't believe it, and they have disdain for people who do. So if you get away from that core of the story, which was what Mary Shelley was writing about, what do you do then? I'll be fascinated to see how he squares that circle or solves that, but it's tough in the modern era to make that work. So we'll see. I'm interested. I'm fascinated to see it. I haven't always liked his movies, but I've always found them fascinating to watch and worth the time. So
right. The interviewer asked Guillermo here, you shot this on massive sets and used a lot of practical effects instead of CGI. Why'd you make that decision? Guillermo says, it's extremely important for me to keep the reality of the film craft alive. I want real sets. I don't want digital. I don't want AI. I don't want simulation. I want old-fashioned craftsmanship. And I want people painting, building, hammering, plastering. I go in and paint props myself sometimes. I supervise the construction of the sets. There is an operatic beauty when you build everything by hand, and you feel that you are being swept away along with the work of hundreds of people. Very, very cool right there. Apparently it is getting a distribution in theaters, which is unusual for Netflix for sure. But I'm actually really kind of excited
about
to see
all
this.
these pictures, by the way, this plethora of pictures.
Please.
Haven't seen The Monster, have we?
I haven't seen The Monster. Yeah.
Good for them.
Oh, yes.
Good
I think
for
there's
them.
like one shot in there that kind of
Yeah, but
shows it.
you want to keep that secret if you can,
Yeah.
which is hard to do, especially on a show where they're doing it all practically rather than with CGI, because
Yes.
somewhere he's in the background and somebody decided to pull him out, and somebody, and look
Mm-hmm.
at who else is like this, who does real stuff instead of Nolan, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's two of our greatest directors saying thanks a lot, but no thanks. And it reminds me,
Right.
as I've told the story before, but a very famous cinematographer
Mm-hmm.
came to an event that they do every year at the Directors Guild called Digital Day.
Mm-hmm.
Was asked about all this CGI stuff. This was many years ago because I was there. And he said, look, you have to say to yourself, these are the tools with one hand, and this is the craft in the other hand. And just because I can master the tools doesn't mean I've got the craft to make it work. So it's all well and good to say, well, to shoot this scene, I need a 4K over here and some scrims over here and this and that and the other to light the set.
Mm-hmm.
But all of that comes afterwards. What starts is, and obviously, see that they're gonna CGI the rest of those masts in above it.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is, what does it feel like?
Right.
What does it look like? What one of the key hallmarks of the Disney Imagineers in their prime was that you could go into some of those buildings at the park and see, like, well, here's the place where 25 years ago they walled up the door and the plaster's a little different. And here's the place where the plumbing leaked and the walls marked from it. And does that happen anymore? Anywhere except a set under this guy or Nolan or a few others? Because it's all about all of that stuff that some people in executive suites would say, big deal, don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is what gives the audience the feel, the taste, the smell, the touch of what's going on that makes good performances great and good stories greater and draws you back again and again and again.
Yep.
Look at the use of color in that picture.
Yeah.
The
Really
blue.
profound stuff.
I mean, here, the oranges. I mean, it's a gray, dark room, but they gave it some vibrancy on purpose. And that's the other thing. Stuff that happens in movies should happen on purpose.
Yep.
Not just as an accident or a byproduct or an afterthought.
Correct.
It's intentional. When I frame a shot, I choose to frame it from a certain point of view for a reason. I was watching an interview with Chuck Heston and with Gregory Peck talking about the movie, great movie if you haven't seen it, watch it, called The Big Country, in which there is this big fight scene between Heston and Gregory Peck.
Mm-hmm.
And they start doing it. It took them 3 days to shoot it. I mean, it's just a knockdown physical fight. And William Wyler, the director, put the cameras way up on a ridge overlooking where they could just be seen as almost specks, but certainly as little spiders in a vast landscape.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, Heston said he was kind of pissed off. He said he felt like he was kind of, denigrating their contribution. But then when he saw the movie, he realized that his point was that violence, Wyler apparently was very affected by World War II and was trying to make a point about violence and how useless and how futile it was. And that's why he shoots this down and dirty, gritty, close-up fight scene from a half a mile away. Well, that's, he isn't announcing that to the world. You hear about it 20 years, 30 years, 40 years later in an interview. But you get the feel of it watching the scene. At the end of it, they look at each other and say, well, I guess we're done, because they're barely able to stand. And you realize the whole thing was totally futile. And that's the point of the scene. So where you put the camera and what you include and what you don't include and which angle you take it from matters.
Absolutely.
Matters enormously. And the example, of course, is comic books. When I was a film student a million years ago, we were told to cut up comic books and storyboard a scene because the individual frames of a comic, from different angles.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you get the idea. Prodigal Father. That was the cover name for the movie, huh? Prodigal Father. That's kind of funny.
That is kind of funny. No, you're so right, Lou. I mean, the comic books and how they choose to illustrate the exact pages and the moments within are so profound, so important
I mean,
to
they're
really convey a
they're
story.
movie storyboards. They're cut
Yeah,
to the close up, cut to the long
right.
shot, cut to the angle, and of course, the
Yep.
great example I always cite, a movie that we are going to be doing soon, by the way, on the Genre Guys, is The Third Man, which was shot by Carol Reed, and there's this big climax in the sewers of Vienna, and he shot them all at what you might call Batman angles, okay, off center and at strange angles to try and emphasize the dark and looming nature of this place that was real that they shot in. And the movie was a widescreen movie. And when it went to television, when they did what they call pan and scan to pull out a square frame for TV,
Mm-hmm.
they straightened all those angles. Because, hey, it would be too exaggerated if you took only the middle of it. And the other example I always cite is How the West Was Won in the big stampede scene when Peppard and Widmark are arguing while all these cows are rushing through. And in the pan and scan version, all you see is their two noses talking at each other with cows because they pulled out the middle of the frame instead of the widescreen. So talk about blow-ups. Supposedly, there's a new big screen version of Jaws coming in a few weeks.
Yep.
It was even though it came out in 70 millimeter widescreen, it came out at that time with 13 minutes cut out of the movie because they couldn't get the angles to play right in the technology of that day.
Mm.
Go to the widescreen. This new one is the first time where you get the whole original movie, which has the brilliant ad campaign line of, "We're going to need a bigger screen," which is just awfully damn funny. But anyway, so these things matter. The language of film is visual.
Yes.
It is. If it was talking, it would be theater. And in theater, actors, what they call take stage, they step down screen, downstage, forefront to take attention away from others within the proscenium and bring it on themselves. But you do that with a camera in a movie. So there you go.
Right. I mean, the first lesson in film class that I was taught was, hey, everything on screen that you see is purposeful. Everything is included for a reason.
Should be.
Everything discarded not. So
should be.
But
should be.
How often do we see those rules broken now?
And because of that, the rules are made to be broken. I remember making a student film once upon a time where there was this scene that was supposed to be very disjointed and very erratic. And my editor, lovely lady, but she was so frustrated because I shot stuff that didn't cut together smoothly. And I said, on purpose, I want it to be jarring. I want it to be irregular. I want it to shake the audience a little bit. And then she got it, sort of. But but you do what you do on purpose. I mean, I don't know if I've told this story, but that same movie, there's a scene where this girl is hiding a gun in a purse on the floor in the dark so that the woman whose purse it is can reach it because she's got artificial arms, and I won't go into all of that. But it's this dark scene, and she's in there in dim light, and she's struggling, and the music is very tense. And then she gets caught because the door opens. And all I did was open a light, with a scream across it and just swash it across to bring a beam of light onto her as if from a doorway.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we shot it, she jumped the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Her look up and being startled was anticipating that light coming on.
Right.
And on the stage, there was about an 8-foot, 10-foot ladder. And since we weren't recording sound because it was all going to be just music, I just said, all right, just listen to me and I'll talk you through it. And I told my guys, just keep shooting. And I said, okay, you're down there and you're struggling and you're checking the chamber of the pistol to see if the bullets are in it. And then I pushed the ladder over that I was leaning against. And she jumped. Thank you. Cut. Print. Because she couldn't get startled enough if she was anticipating it. But if I startled her by having this big aluminum ladder fall over, you do what you got to do to make it work.
Right.
You do what you got to do to make it work. And nobody felt manipulated or nobody got an artistic hissy fit. It was, you do it for the movie. And so anyway, Tales of Old, pre-Hollywood in my case. Well, I was in Hollywood, but it was
Well,
anyway. That's the kind of stuff you do.
so Del Toro was asked about streaming versus theatrical. I want to go ahead and leave it on this note right here. We got one super chat, and then Ron's amazing The Dish is coming up right up. But because Netflix is making this movie, more people will stream it than see it on the big screen. Given that you're painting on a vast canvas, does that bother you? Del Toro says, well, we will get the biggest theatrical release that Netflix gives its films. I don't know the exact number, but it's 3 weeks exclusively, and then it can stay in theaters for longer. And Netflix is also going to release it on physical media, just like they did with my 2022 film Pinocchio. The theatrical experience is very important. I believe in it. But if the choice is between being able to make the movie and have portions of the release be theatrical and portions of it being streaming, or not make the movie, that's an easy decision to make. For a filmmaker, you want to tell your stories. I thought that was very, very interesting because
very realistic of him. Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I thought it was really profound, and not a lot of people would admit that, but I think that is the choice that a lot of these directors are making. So pretty cool stuff indeed.
Well, and it's the changing nature of the business that it's not quote unquote traditional studios that are in charge anymore. It's these hybrids like Apple TV and Netflix and
Amazon also too with James Bond, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Although we'll see what happens there. God only knows.
I'm on. I'm very excited.
But I think it was Judi Dench put an interview out where she explained, I'm all for everything, but James Bond's got to be a man. And Pierce Brosnan came on and said, well, if they want James Bond as an old man, I'm around.
Right.
But if you understand the nature of the story and the characters, then the medium becomes secondary, except as a tool to reflect those stories and characters.
Correct.
If you don't get the basics, it doesn't matter what medium it is, it's still going to be lousy. And I give you most of everything on Disney Plus as an example thereof. Anyway.
It's true. Eric Stratton with the 777. Mary Shelley's life was almost as wild as her book. Example, she kept her dead husband's charred heart in her treasure.
What, you mean you don't?
Yeah, do you
What's so
not
strange
do that?
about that?
Exactly.
Well, and spleens don't count. It's got to be the heart.
Gotta be the heart. Gotta be the heart for sure.
You gotta have heart. All you really need is heart. Well, maybe kidneys. Anyway.
Well, thank you, Juliet. Thank you, Walter. And thank you, Eric Stratton, for donating towards the show right there. That is very, very cool. Lou, where can we find you on this great, big, beautiful web out there?
Well, normally I'm on the Monday night extravaganza with Pro and the gang. I may not make it there because after I finish with you today, I'm going to be in the dark side of the moon period because I finally broke down and bought a new computer and I got to do all that switching stuff from the old one to the new one, with accompanying curses and outbursts and frustrations. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but we'll see. So either way, I should be around on Tuesday at 3, but we'll see. But either way, you can always find me wherever there is danger. You can find me with the genre guys. And I guess they just put up Crimson Tide and a few others on the Pro channel. And I don't know what you've got coming up next from the archives, but I know that the next 2 we're recording, we're going to kind of do a noir double feature. When I say double feature, because of the added demand for Lorne's time, basically, with the new wonderful Lorne and Apollo show, we're recording, instead of every week, we're doing 2 shows every other week, and then they get split up. So the next pair that I know of are going to be a kind of film noir double feature. From the old and the new-ish, by which I mean the Maltese Falcon with Bogart and Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre and Mary Astor and all those. And then we're going to do Touch of Evil, which, of course, is Chuck Heston and Janet Leigh and Orson Welles and Marlene Dietrich, and is just plain heavenly, wonderful, strange. So if you want to get ahead of us, watch those movies now. If you want to stay with us, watch them as they come up. And if you want to be behind us, there's a whole library of stuff that you can enjoy, all with the basic premise that we really did make good movies once upon a time, and some of them aren't that long ago. And I know the one that just came up was Diggstown, which if you haven't seen it yet, golly gee whiz, you should watch Diggstown. We talked about James Woods before, but if I told you had James Woods versus Bruce Dern with Lou Gossett and Oliver Platt in the same movie, wouldn't that be enough to get you to watch it? Even if you didn't know it was kind of The Sting meets Rocky all in the same movie? It's just a load of fun. Go watch that one. Anyway, so I'm around. I show up from here to there and there to here, and will continue to do so as long as you good folks grace me with your loving fandom, or even if you can't stand me, it doesn't matter. I'm still here. And I have I know I keep saying this, I have a new enterprise that is coming soon, but it isn't quite yet. Once I get the new computer up, I'll be able to make that happen. And you'll have yet another way to be beleaguered by my thoughts.
Fantastic. Can't wait.
So,
can't wait.
What about you, Vash? What are you doing next?
Well, next up is going to be G3PO Live. It's going to be on this channel right here. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please go ahead and do so. We're going to be talking about a couple of interesting things that have been hitting the theme park waiver wire, like the Muppets, for example, taking over Rock and Roller Coaster, or the reimagining of Frontierland and how they're taking really the frontier out of it. It's your frontier. Oh, it's a whole thing. But we're going to be talking about that.
Honestly, do you think they'll rename it someday?
I wouldn't be surprised if they do, Lou. But they're really stretching to kind of include.
And what about I see when they took down the sign to Adventureland? Will they rename that, or have you used the adventure word in France already, and so it's out of style? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe they might not do that only because does really adventure offend anybody? Frontier
it's nice
might.
To know,
so
by the way, that they have what we might call Les Douceurs du Pixie over in France, because I saw this glowing report about the Lion King thing over there that never once mentioned the weather. Showed the floor plans and the plot plans, and c'est magnifique, but you may freeze your posterior off riding sans flume. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that.
We'll see what happens. Well, we also have That Park Place as well, every single Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern right there. I'm always on the Pro Show. Whenever those programs do go off. It's frequent. I just want to go ahead and thank our mods, Going Shogi, Juliet, Follow the Bradley's Fun, everybody who's been modding for us, TJ. We've been asking a lot of you, obviously, because of how many live streams that we're actually doing between the various channels. I want to go ahead and make sure you are appreciated. All right, Lou, we got to get out of here. We got to get to Follow the Bradley's Fun. So stick around. You're going to be redirected, actually, to the dish over there with Ron. Going to be fantastic stuff. Anyway, let's get over there. Thank you, Lou. And thank you, everyone. Bye.